This is a wonderful occasion to address a much-needed issue in one of our inner-city communities. Imagine a world without internet access, a world where children have no access to a library after school, a community where 56% of the residents 26 years and older do not have a high school diploma and only 3% have a college degree. Imagine a community where 57% of its residents live below the poverty level. That community is where we are today. Location shouldn't matter because of who you are. It is unfortunate that we can tell a story about a child based on a zip code. Location should only matter when it comes to real estate, not human capital. And that's the case here today. But the big news is that's all going to change thanks to a partnership between the Delta Regional Authority, local governments, state governments, and some citizens who felt like something had to happen. We can't continue with the way things are, and that's why we're here, and that's why this is so very exciting. You're going to hear today from those who have participated in making this day possible, whether providing funding sources, whether providing the ideas to make it happen. We work with the Delta Regional Authority. The Delta Regional Authority includes 8 states in the Delta region. Every year there's funding available for projects, and it is up to the governor which projects get funded. So we worked very closely with Ted Townsend, who's the regional director for ECD, to look at the projects in our area looking for funding. Ted and his group pulled together all those on the state level to come here to Memphis to sit and listen to this proposal, and at the end of the day, that is why we're here today, because it was one of the projects that was funded. At this time, I would like for Ted Townsend to come and bring remarks on behalf of Governor Haslam and Commissioner Haggerty. Ted Townsend.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for allowing me a few words this afternoon. On behalf of Governor Haslam and the state of Tennessee, I do congratulate Community Lift and the Memphis Area Association of Governments on this Notice to Proceed milestone. I also want to extend the governor's thanks to Chairman Massengill and the Delta Regional Authority for affording the ability to fulfill the promise of this incredible opportunity. When Eric approached me about this proposal, I quickly understood his passion and his vision for what could be. And if you will permit, I'd like to go off the usual economic development script and talk directly to the community beneficiaries of this project. The Soulsville community called the world to notice through its legacy of music creation and production, which still reverberates around the globe today. So this is a call to action, and I challenge you to realize the full utility of this uplifting opportunity so that this notice to proceed translates into a notice to succeed. It will start from one click, from one home, or from one business, and build to a crescendo of technology access that becomes a band of broad inspirations and newly formed creations that will solidify Soulsville and its next generation of legacy. So when your collective pursuits raise to an altitude of your dreams, take notice of that feeling, that sense of movement and momentum, and realize that it is you flying and not falling. We are there to support you in all of this. The state of Tennessee again thanks you all for allowing us to be a part of this today. We played a very small role. Many others did all of the heavy lifting, but we were so glad and so thankful to help position everyone for success. We really look forward to the continued partnerships in the years to come on this. This innovative project will have significant business development implications in the Soulsville community by giving area businesses a larger capacity for innovation, efficiency, and communication. And at the end of the day, what we expect and hope will be that jobs will be created and sustainable incomes will be created. And that's good for all of us. So thank you again. Congratulations, Eric.
Thank you, Ted. The Honorable Mayor Mark Luttrell, Mayor of Shelby County, is here. Mayor, I want to personally thank you so much for your support when we call your office and we are reaching out to bring funding, additional funding in this community. You and your staff, Phyllis and Kim, have always been very responsive, and we really appreciate the fact that you all understand what it means to leverage local dollars with state and federal funding. So Mayor, thank you for your support, and if you would come and give us remarks, please.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Pam, and certainly to Chris, Delta Regional Authority. So much we owe to you all for supporting us in so many ways. I would like to acknowledge certainly State Representative Barbara Cooper, who's with us today. Barbara, it's always good to see you. Anything that has to do with the good of our community, I know I can count on you to be there. And representing Senator Alexander's office, Laura Jobe. Laura, it's good to have you from the Senator's office, and thank you so much. Congressman Cohen, good to see you as always. And Congressman Cohen and I were down here just a couple of weeks ago for another event that really was highlighting this particular area of our community. And Congressman, I think we all take a great deal of pride in to see the renaissance in this particular area of the community. And anytime we can come down here to really emphasize those things that are so good about this part of our county and our city is certainly a significant occasion. Eric, to you and Community Lift. Eric has meant so much to our community, and Community Lift seems to always be there for anything that's progressive, innovative, and uplifting for our community. But Eric, I want to give you a compliment on another front as well. One of the things that we as a community really strive to do is to do what we can to keep our young professionals in this community. And Eric, when I look at you and what you've been able to do with Community Lift, that indeed is what we look to our next generation of leaders to be doing. And that is to really embracing the new technology that we need for 21st century America. And Eric, thank you for the enthusiasm, the youthful vigor that you bring to this. And certainly we look forward to continuing to work with you in every way possible with the Community Lift Initiative. Chris, I mentioned to Chris Massengill just a moment ago before we started that Delta Regional Authority seems to always be there at the critical time when we need just a few more dollars to make something work. And Chris, you have been here on numerous occasions, and we've had an opportunity to have events like this where we can really thank Delta Regional Authority for being that federal agency that reaches out to us in the local community and makes things work. This particular initiative, the broadband initiative, I think was originally targeted for rural areas, and Eric, in his proactive way, working with DRA, was able to get a good urban commitment of $250,000 for this broadband expansion. And folks, think about it, in an area that just in the last few years has seen the resurrection of the Soulsville spirit, the Stax Academy that we have just behind us over here that's doing such a wonderful job of training our young people for the next generation and the challenges. We are indeed fortunate in this area to have these opportunities that we've had. This broadband capability expansion will help us in so many ways: economic development, small businesses, big businesses, certainly education front, just the citizens that live in the area to have this high-speed capability, instant access, truly will establish the Soulsville area of Memphis as being one of the more innovative neighborhoods in our community. And we owe a great deal of that to the collaboration of private resources, the federal government, and certainly local and state government. Ted, thank you as always. You've been so good for our community as Governor Haslam has taken some bold initiatives in economic development, and this is just another step in that direction. So we will look forward to coming back out here to Soulsville for another press conference the next time we have a new innovative project, and it's always a pleasure to be down here to share with the citizens the good things that are happening in Memphis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Luttrell. When I was first told about this project and they talked about children not having access to the internet, parents not being able to access what's going on at their children's schools when so many schools are going paperless and they're sending information to parents via the internet, and I'm thinking about these children and them not having access. How can they succeed? How can they be prepared to compete on a global scale if they don't have that basic need met? I grew up in a house with outdoor plumbing. I can't imagine children today without outdoor plumbing, and we should feel the same way about our children not having access to the internet. We should feel the exact same way in this country in 2013, that there are children today in this community, in this country, without access to the internet and across the state. So Mayor Luttrell, as you said, I applaud the governor in his efforts to answer that need. Representative Barbara Cooper, who's here, a retired educator, and I would like for Representative Cooper to come and have remarks just about the significance of this project for these children, so many of whom she probably taught their parents, and has continued to work so hard locally and in Nashville on behalf of this community. Please give her a big round of applause.
This is afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Barbara Cooper, and I'm in my neighborhood. I didn't grow up in this neighborhood, but I grew up in North Memphis, attended Manassas High School. But my children grew up in this neighborhood. So I lived over here about 35 years, and I'm thinking about coming back. And I'm so pleased, so you know, for that reason, I'm pleased to be here to support this project, and especially when it comes to education and anything to expand education. And to our senator, who's representing Senator Mayor Joe, and Congressman Cohen, County Commissioner Mark Luttrell. Yeah, he's very supportive of whatever I send him. He follows up on it, and I love that. Because I have a lot of problems coming to Nashville. I represent you in Nashville. And of course, Governor Haslam has been, he works you to death. I'm telling you, he needs to give you a bonus, Mr. Thompson. Pam is just a friend and also the chairman of the MAG board, Memphis Area Association of Governments, and I sit on that board. So it is a great honor to be a part of this partnership with Stax. And I was here when the old Stax was here. That was a long time ago. And before we closed down, and now I'm back, and I'm just so pleased to see everything building up around here. Until I'm anxious to get back and do what I can to support and live down here among my friends, and some of my neighbors are still here. How many community people are here today? Where are my parents? Do we have any parents here? We get these parents involved in something like this. I know they're excited about their children attending the charter school, and I am deeply passionate about education. When it comes to education, I just go all off the wavelength and don't even realize that I'm off. So I won't go there to tell you about what's happened to me recently and what we're doing. Is still working to make sure that our children are educated. The biggest and the most vicious weapon that we have, I know we have a lot of discussion about guns and gun control, but the worst weapon that we could ever have is to not educate our children. So again, thank you for having me here, Pam. And I'll do all that I can, and just call me at any time that you need me to come. Eric, I'll just ditto what the mayor said, okay? He's doing an excellent job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Cooper. When we talk about partnering dollars, local dollars with state dollars and federal dollars, we have a voice in Washington with Congressman Cohen, Congressman of the 9th District. DRA funding, EDA funding, HUD funding, all that money has to go through Washington to get approved, and we appreciate you representing us and supporting us, Congressman Cohen, and really appreciate you dropping everything and being here today, because we know how important this project is to you. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to the Honorable Congressman Steve Cohen of the 9th Congressional District.
Protocol having been established, I do want to thank Chris Massengill and the work he does with the Delta Regional Authority. And I understand from Chris it's Mr. Al Green and Eric who have done the applications and really kind of made this happen. So I take my I've already taken my hat off to you, but I do it symbolically. What's so important to recognize here today is that the funding that comes from the federal government that helps Memphis, and helps Memphis and Shelby County and the state of Tennessee in so many ways, and is threatened at this time. That the biggest issues going on in Washington right now is a question of whether or not we should put deficit reduction first or economic development and jobs first. And I and Paul Krugman agree with the latter. And when people talk about the cuts that they want to make, and especially people that want to talk about across the board cuts, I was at the program this morning that commemorated, unfortunately, the death of a 3-year-old, the Child Advocacy Center. And the Child Advocacy Center gets about 35% of its funds from the federal government. That program, like so many other programs, protect people in our community, the vulnerable individuals, whether they're children or seniors or people with disabilities, women who are oftentimes at risk and need resources and need programs. They're at risk, and when you have across-the-board cuts that some people suggest in a very simplistic fashion, which doesn't require a tuned-in mind to do such, you will be cutting these type of programs for those people that need federal resources. And these type programs are indeed important. The Delta Regional Authority is on the chopping block. There are people who have suggested that the Delta Regional Authority and other such authorities be abolished. And what the Delta Regional Authority does in the Delta is important to Memphis, because when people have jobs and monies and opportunity in the small towns around here, it helps Memphis. The country comes to the city to shop and for markets and to be entertained, and our prosperity is dependent on our neighbors. We're the center of the Mid-South. So the Delta Regional Authority is extremely important to Memphis, and it's important that it invests some of its funds not only in the rural areas but in the urban areas, and that's what Chris has tried to do, and I've talked to Chris about it, and that's what makes it important to me, because he came and sought me out as a congressman in this area, and my concern is the 9th District, and we've tried to get programs where we can in this area. Connection to the internet is totally essential to opportunities for business and for this neighborhood, which I know is what LIFT is looking at, but also, as Barbara mentioned, Representative Cooper, children, and Pam mentioned it, that access to the whole information highway, which if you don't otherwise have, you're not going to be able to succeed. So it's important to thank everybody for their work and make sure this program is successful, but also I'd ask everybody to ask their congresspeople and their senators to do logical budgeting and to keep programs like this that are so important, and they keep in the same spirit that President Obama had in his inauguration address, that we have to give people opportunities, ladders of opportunity to achieve the American dream. And without access to the internet, that won't happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, Benny Seth, for being here. Congressman, she represents you very well. When you cannot be here, she always responds and come to our events, as well as...
She's my Laura Joe.
As I was about to say, as well as Senator Alexander's Laura Jobe. You guys have great representation here on the ground in West Tennessee. About 2 years ago, I got a phone call from Al Green telling me about this project, and he's giving me all these numbers and telling me all of the stuff that needed to be done. And I had recently taken this job as director for the Development District, and my chairman is here, Mr. Hugh Davis, who is the vice mayor for Piperton in Fayette County. And so we get him to come to Shelby County on occasion too. Mayor Luttrell. But Al Green mentioned this project to me, and I thought, wow, I didn't know it's hard to imagine that the problem exists. And then how do we do this? How do we find funding for this? Al had partnered with Charles Elliott, and these two gentlemen, if you all would please stand, these are the two gentlemen who, the brain power behind this project, answering two gentlemen who have very successful other lives and could be doing what they do. Al, if you don't mind me saying, Al and his partner Andre Gist own the largest African-American owned manufacturing company in the state of Tennessee. They are on the BE 100 list. 56% of the cars on the road in the United States have parts that come from Al Green and his partner's company. So Al could be in the Cayman somewhere, I suppose, if he wanted to. But we have to reach back. We have to see a need, and we can't wait on somebody else to do it. And they're doing it, and I really, really appreciate you doing it. So he calls me and he tells me about this. Then as time goes on, as I'm figuring out the role of the Development District and our partners with the Delta Regional Authority, Eric called me one day, and Eric said, I talked to Bill from Delta Regional Authority. He said, you might be able to help us find funding. And he starts to tell me about the project, and I was like, I've heard of that before. And fortunately, the two came together, were able to bring together their ideas. We were able to help work with them and bring this to fruition. Eric, I applaud you on your tenacity and your hard work and your not giving up and making sure that this happens. We expect that this to be very successful and to grow. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of Community Lift, Mr. Eric Robertson.
Thank you, Pamela. I don't have a lot to say because we're ready to get to work. So I'm just here to express gratitude. Gratitude to Pamela, as she said, to Charles Elliott and Mr. Alfred Green for bringing this idea and concept to us. I was smart enough to say, yes, I like it. How do we make it happen? To Mayor Luttrell, Mayor Warden, who couldn't be here today, for being very supportive of our effort and backing us all the way. I cannot say enough about those two mayors. We're very lucky as a city to have them. For Congressman Cohen for being here, Representative Cooper, also State Representative Steve McManus wrote a letter for our support. Representative Lois DeBerry, State Senator Reginald Tate, and of course ECD and all the work you all did for us. And we have an outstanding board, Mr. Herman Strickland, who introduced me to Mr. Alfred Green, and he's my board member and Vice President at First Tennessee. And then last but not least, the exceptional staff that I have that helped to write this grant, to put this together. Without them, we wouldn't be here today. And my sincere gratitude to all of you all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
This is called the Community Digital Advantage Program. It is an initiative to develop 21st century broadband infrastructure within a distressed inner city neighborhood in Memphis. As I said before, that's where we are today. That happened because Chris Massengill and his group said yes. The Honorable Chris Massengill, who is the federal co-chair for the Delta Regional Authority, representing 8 states, appointed by President Barack Obama. He is responsible for facilitating dollars in 252 counties and parishes in those 8 states. Chairman Massengill, again, welcome to Memphis and West Tennessee. We really, really appreciate all that you all do. You have a jewel in Amanda Richardson. She's been working so hard to get all of this set up.
Don't tell her that, she'll want to raise.
Well, we'll have to make sure we find that for her. Chairman, thank you very much for being here so much. Let's give him a round of applause.
You don't need to give me an applause. You need to give yourselves applause, because these projects don't happen without leadership. And the leadership that this community has is pretty incredible. And it's so awesome. I've got to tell you, Pam and Congressman, you know this so well, to be in this historic place, to be in this historic community is pretty cool for a kid from Arkansas who believes that the Lord has blessed him to get to do this kind of job and to work on these kind of projects. And Eric, you mentioned the word grant. And yes, this is federal resources, but we don't call them grants at DRA, because DRA is an agency that was created to be a partner in economic development. And we make economic development investments. That's why we were created, to work with the governors of the 8 states, to work with local elected officials. And Mayor, you and Mayor Warden, I don't have a stronger partner at the local level in the 8 states than I do with these 2 mayors here, and I remain committed to the vision and to the projects in this part of the country, because it's important for every community in the region, all 10 million of our people. It is important. When good things happen in Memphis and Shelby County and this congressional district, it impacts everybody on the Mississippi. And that's why DRA is a partner with Memphis and Shelby County, and we're going to continue to be, Mayor. So thank you for that partnership and collaboration, and they were smart when they elected you mayor of this county. Now I'm going to take a point of personal privilege, then we're going to get down to the business at hand, because this is really the best part of my job. I come from economic development. I love doing economic development projects, and coming to the communities and to the projects, Eric, and signing these notice to proceed is important. But when we've got folks like Congressman Cohen here, I want you all to know that we can't exist without your federal delegation. And Laura, please pass on to the Senator how much my gratitude is for his partnership. We do have a great relationship with your colleagues up in D.C., and we appreciate that a great deal. And Congressman Cohen, for you to be here, this is not the first time that you've been an advocate for DRA, and I want to tell you publicly, thank you. On behalf of all 8 states and 252 counties and parishes, you are an incredible advocate for us on the Hill, and we can't be here without you. Thank you very much. Now, Ted had mentioned a little bit earlier that he works for Governor Haslam. You all know Ted. He understands economic development as well, but I'm here to also just reinforce with you that the way that DRA works, we can't do business without the governors. And you've got a governor in this state that understands what it means to create jobs, that understands what it means to be a business person, the impact that it has on every layer of our community. And that relationship that we have with the governor, Ted, is very important. I can't do my job without him, and they can't do what they need to do in their community without me representing the president. It is a true partnership, and we're very thankful for that. So Ted, thank you for the work you've done on this project and for being a part of that process, and we appreciate that relationship a great deal. Madam Representative, I have heard nothing but incredible things about you and your advocacy for education of our young people. And you're absolutely right. You cannot separate education and economic development in this country. It is an amazing tool and resource. And when you start to divide those two, we go backwards instead of going forwards. And so thank you. And although we have not had a lot of time to interact, know that I want to be a partner with you too. So if you see a way for us to partner, know that I'm available to you. And last and certainly not least, Mayor, I know because the local elected officials, they own the MAG. They are your planning and development district. And we've got 42 of them in the region. And I am so proud of the work that Pam and her colleagues are doing at MAG, and it is very important. They are our local project managers. They help us with the technical assistance. They guide our applicants and partners like Eric through this process, and so your partnership is very important, and I appreciate your leadership. A lot of great things have been said about this project, and the one thing that I will say is, as we begin to talk about signing this notice to proceed, is that we all know, and you two gentlemen being business individuals know what it's like to meet a payroll, to create those jobs, and dealing with the economies that we have today, helping us to strengthen that. You know firsthand that without technology we can't move forward. And we try to do 3 things at the Delta Regional Authority. We try to help create jobs, build communities, and improve lives. And what I'm here to tell you as the federal co-chairman, I believe that the investment in this economic development project honors that mission. And we're going to continue to do that. We cannot be competitive in a 21st century economy without this kind of technology right here in the urban core of one of the greatest cities in America. This is critically important, and I'm glad that we're part of it. So one of the most important things that I'd like to do as charged as the federal co-chair is that this notice to proceed. And what's cool about this is that, Eric, what this means, and Congressman, you appreciate that, means they can start spending money. Critically important to an economic development project. So just real quickly, if you all will allow me, I will read the basic part of this. Most of it is just technical stuff and the bureaucratic stuff that we have to do to stay accountable and transparent. But the most important part is when we say, I'm pleased to inform you that all the executed documents have been returned and that you are now authorized to proceed with the project with a retroactive approval date of 1/14/2013. Please know that you are subject to the Office of Management and Budget requirements found in circular such and such, and cost principles found in circular such and such. A copy of all these contracts for general and subcontractors shall be provided to the office. Good luck with your project, and we look forward to continuing our partnership. So on behalf of the Delta Regional Authority, come on. Now let's start spending that money sooner rather than later. Otherwise, he'll take it back from me.
Okay.
Chairman,
Yes?
this chairman, if you
Oh.
want to come up.
Amanda Rich, oh, there she is. We good? Now we can go to work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
I want to make sure that I thank the most important person at MAC, Lisa Trexler, who helps keeps us all straight. And Lisa, thank you very much for your hard work. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here. Eric, Al, and Charles, we look for wonderful things from this project and know that you have put your fingerprints on the history of this community and these children for many generations to come. Thank you all so much for being here today.